Braids, native speaker.
Hello, my needle drops. Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's album review time. Before we get started, this past weekend I put up a video of my 16 most anticipated albums of the year. Are they the only albums I'm anticipating? No, but they're the ones I am anticipating most. Link in the D box to find that, and also I've done an audio review of that new self-titled Cloud Nothings album. You can find that on the blog, linked below as well. And also make sure to follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. It's where we announce contests, put up new posts from the blog, put up weird, general, funny musings. On to the review. Let's talk up a release that's been getting a lot of buzz. A Canadian quartet by the name of Braids. LP, native speaker. This is the band's first release since changing their name from the Neighborhood Council. Good move. And the band's music has gotten a lot more refined since that name change. On their Set Pieces EP, the group would go out on these long, adventurous, linear jams that really kind of remind me of funk music in that they just grab hold of a groove and they don't let go. But the mix was kind of muddy, and the production wasn't exactly all that good. A definite flaw. But this time around, the band is just shinier. They're a lot shinier, and they're using a lot of electronics to get their point across. I don't want to say this is a lush album. It didn't have colors rushing to my head, but there are a lot of points here where Braids sounds really pretty. The title track is definitely one of those moments with these really mesmerizing, dreamy synthesizers that just shimmer with in the mix, along with these cycling tonal hums just repeating in the background, making it seem kind of just repetitive, minimal, but in a good way. You could tell that the sound is shifting, but these changes are happening so subtly at a lot of points of this LP, it's hard to tell where exactly you're going or when it's happening. It's like the rug is being pulled out right from under your feet. Listening to this album is kind of like sitting in an echo chamber while listening to music. Not reverb. It's not like, you get this big gargantuan sound with Braids. That's not what you get. What I'm talking about is when you hear a sound, when you hear a note, when you hear something happen, it bounces and you hear it repeat 3 or 4 more times. Now, having said I like this band's sound, there is something about it that has gotten them a lot of comparisons to Animal Collective, and I can certainly see why. There is something about the looping and the trippy electronics and the vocal effects that is pretty Merriweather post-Pavilion. But this feeling only really hits me on the first track of this album, Lemonade. As I trip through native speaker, I catch whiffs of ambient music and parts I would even compare to Juliana Barwick or even Glasser. But overall, I love the really long, sprawling song lengths here. There are only 7 tracks, but this thing tops 40 minutes, so you do get some really wide and open spaces on this thing. This LP did just kind of stop short of impressing me 100% though. The drums I felt like could have had a lot more punch to them, and the vocals for me are a little more eccentric than they are melodic. Plus, I think there was a little bit of a mixing issue here with them as well. They're either so quiet it's difficult to actually hear kind of what's going on or what is being said, or they're shriekingly loud and just really not adding as much as they are taking away from the track. Maybe some compression could have helped the volume differences, I don't know. So those parts have me kind of holding back on this LP, despite the fact that I do like a lot of parts about it. Cal, what do you think of Braids? Well, what do Braids matter to me? Or you? We're bald. Always with the right thing to say. Cal Chuchesta. I'm like a light to decent 7 on this thing. It's a debut album. It feels like a debut album. However, part of me says that it's definitely going to get better from here. I'm just going to say Braids is a band to watch, call it a day, and ask, what do you think about this album? All the people who have been asking me about this, what do you feel about this LP? Loving it? What are you loving about it? Why? And what album should I review next? Anthony Fantano, Braids, forever.